Hello everyone, this is video 2, week number 7, our very last week. Let's start in hand and knee position and going from cow to cat. Cow, slight elbow bend, exhale into cat. Cow and cat are nice warm-ups for the spine, moving through an arch to a contraction, rounding and arching. Then from here, hold your neutral, step back into plank, take 3 full breaths, and then coming down, forehead touch, legs stretch, and coming up into Sphinx, forearms down, looking out. Releasing from Sphinx, forehead touch. Stretching the legs long, lifting a little bit in the abdomen into Cobra. Remember, in Cobra, focus is the eyebrow center. And then slowly coming down, resting, hips, chin, nose, and forehead. Tucking your toes under, pushing up and back, and resting in the child's pose. Let's take a new pose today. It's called the half hero in sitting position. I'm going to use a block for this and a strap, and I'm going to show it to you in 2 angles. The first is square on. So on this, sitting on my block, and not everyone has to use a block. The block, remember, is a prop to make things easier. And I've got this leg tucked in, top of the foot down. One leg in a half hero, the other leg in straight. So it's called a sitting half hero. I'm going to use my strap and draw the elbows in so I can sit nice and tall. And then taking the second side, I'm leaning to the side a little bit. One of the issues with half hero is ankle. If you're a little tight in your ankle, this may not be the pose for you. Sitting tall, using the expansion of the chest. And then we have a variation that can be used that people like on and half hero, and that's a tilt backwards. So I'm going to show you this from the side. Half hero, this way you can see the foot position. The foot is very close to your hip. And I start with just sitting. And as I say, the prop of the block is helpful for most of us, but not everybody needs to use it. So you'd start in your sitting position, and then the tilt back gives you a much more intense stretch for your quadriceps or your front thigh. And some people can go all the way back or lay down on pillows. You can create a position with pillows to lay back on. Just be careful coming in and out of this pose, and we'll take this again with that lean back. One thing to notice is that the knees are not very far apart. They're not out to the side like that, but we've got pretty parallel legs here. Sitting tall with a few breaths, and then taking your lean back. Half hero in seated position. and releasing. Good. All right, next, let's go through our seated routine or series, sitting series, starting with sitting position, Dandasana, which is basic sitting pose. I'm going to use the strap again, which allows me to really get a good lift in the back, to bring my ear over my shoulders, over my hips. Take nice breaths. And then the rotation, twist is next, opening up. And what helps you get a little more rotation here is to use your head. But imagine that the twist has been done already by rotation, and then the head just kind of accepts that twist and keeps going. And then second side. And then back to center, our relaxed forward bend, optional block and center for less of a stress on the back. And then coming up from there, let's go into the boat pose. Boat is a balance on the tailbone. So let's tip back slightly. Let's bring our left foot into modified position. And just to give you a help, what kind of helps in this position is to put the block between the knees. Find your position, and then take your balance, looking past the toes. Squeezing the block, and then holding the legs. Let's place the feet down and carefully roll back, feeling the lower back, your middle back, your upper back, and head. Bridging, let's take our L position in the arms, drawing down into the lower back, contracting your glute muscles, bringing the hips up to a position that suits your back. Make sure the head stays in place and the shoulders, the head will be lower than the shoulders or at the an even level, using the glute muscles. And then slowly release into the mid back and into the lower back. Draw your left knee into the single knee tuck, stretching your right leg out. Single knee tuck. Then with the low back rounded, change. From here, let's bring both legs in that knee tuck position with the block in between. And let's bring our knees over our rib cage, arms out to the side. And as the knees roll to the right, squeezing the block, look to your left. I'm not going all the way over, even if I can, because I'm using it more of a strength pose. Now contracting the mid-abdomen, bring the knees back to center. Inhale in center. Exhale, letting the knees roll to your left. As the knees roll to the left, look to your right. And then coming back to center, let's take a tight tuck into the lower back. Next, taking that block between the feet, take your legs up to 12 o'clock, hands behind the skull, in breath. As you exhale, bring the head and shoulders up and lower the legs to about 2 o'clock on the clock, straight up being 12. Take 2 breaths, release down, come up to 12, inhale, first curl up, exhale, go down to about 3 o'clock. Two breaths, and then bring the knees in. Very good. Let's take a massage of the lower back. Taking the left foot grounded, bring your right leg into a big toe hold, and I have socks on today, so I'm going to make a space for my middle and index finger. Extend the leg and then stretch the left leg out. The left hand will go on the front of the thigh. So you're using your abdominal muscles and looking forward. And then releasing, foot to thigh, curl up, or hand to foot curl up. Middle and index, the middle finger goes in first. Slide the right leg out. Inhale, exhale. Remember that you've got your two fingers between the big toe and the second toe. And then releasing. Let's roll carefully side to side. Turning side and coming up. And let's repeat our open angle. Open angle can be done sitting on the block or the floor or an elevation that suits you. Open angle, you can be very wide at your widest or you're kind of a moderate wide. And we're going to go side to side first. So let's start with the right. I'm going to line up the midline of the body with my right leg. Inhale, one hand on the inside, one hand on the outside. As I exhale, I'm going to take the inner shoulder, drop that a little more, and reach out. And I can use my strap on this, using this hand holding the strap. The other hand reaches back and behind and release. And then come up and then turn to second side. Squaring off, and this is why if you're super wide in this open angle, it's going to be a little bit harder to get the mid-spine lined up with the right leg. And then as we exhale, think of dropping inside shoulder, keeping both sitting bones grounded. And then coming up in breath, sitting tall. Exhale, and for this sometimes we can use a block in center. So for the sit up, you have your block close. As you exhale, you slide your block and rest your hands on your block. Very good. Coming off the block, bringing the legs in, relaxing the legs. We're going to take a butterfly sitting position. So again, because I have socks on, I'm going to create a space between the big toe and the second toe. I'm going to tip back And the butterfly doesn't really have to have straight legs. It's a balance, so use your focal point. The knees can be bent. Releasing and resting. Very good, everyone. Today, I want to remind you, this is our last video, and remind you to work on your meditation, very important part of yoga. And you've got your last assignment, and be confident that you'll get your full 30 points. Just work on it and do your meditation. Namaste, everyone.